All right, back at you with some real estate tips from Team Ruggles. Atlanta Communities, Carsville, Georgia. Office number is 770-240-2000. It's a directory. You can choose my name, Eric Ruggles, or my wife's name, Kim Ruggles, and it will connect us to our phones. If you've missed other tips that I have given, they are on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@Eric Ruggles. You can go to that playlist with the Atlanta Communities Real Estate playlist, and you can see the other tips that I have listed on there. All right. What are we talking about today? First time home buyer mistakes. Okay. It's a complete overview of the most common and costly mistakes that first time home buyers will make. All right. First thing is you have to get pre-approved. You got to get pre-approved for a loan so you know what amount that you can get a loan for, and that's the price range that you're looking at. If you just go out looking and you see a house that you like, you might not be qualified to get that house for a loan to get that house. So it is important that you go to a lender, get pre-qualified, so we know what range you're in to look. All right. Weak offer strength and budget mismatch. All right. Those are some things that you happen to have. You're looking at a house and it's not fitting into your budget. That's one thing that you make, and it's a weak offer. You try and lowball an offer in a hot market, and that's just not a good idea to do. All right, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, not knowing monthly budget, focus on price instead of payment. Taxes, insurance, and HOAs add up. Interest rate changes impact affordability. So if you have an ARM, an adjustable, all right, that's going to make your payments adjust. But if you get a fixed mortgage, then your interest is not going to be adjusted. All right, focus on price instead of payment. Price of the house, your interest on the house, how much you will be paying over an extended period of time, 15, 30 years, whatever the mortgage is. You do want to look at payment as far as if you can fit that payment into your budget. But also, you have to make sure you're adding in taxes, insurance, and the homeowners association. All right? Those are going to add up. So make sure you know what those costs are. You can ask, and they should be able to know if you ask the seller. Okay? Appraisal, inspection, title fees, those are going into your closing costs. All right? And there's where you can try and get some money back. You can always ask the seller to pay some of the closing costs to cover some of those fees. All right. Prepaids and escrows, 7K to 12K, typical on a $300,000 home. They're talking about closing costs. All right. You're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4%. But again, you can try and get the seller to pay some of that, a portion of that closing cost, to kind of cut down on the expenses that you would have with that. All right. Waiving home inspection, not a good idea. You might save yourself $450. All right, you're saying, yeah, I saved myself $450 by not getting the inspection. But if you pay that $450, they might find something wrong with the HVAC, the roof, whatever. You're looking at $10,000 right there, at least, for a roof. All right, anywhere from 8 to 10 for an HVAC if it's a complete system. All right, so it is good to get an inspection, know if those things are faulty, and then you can get the seller to try and pay for those things, pay half for those things, whatever you may negotiate. Usually the seller is responsible for paying those things if you can get that negotiated in the contract. All right, $500 inspection can save thousands. All right, so never skip the inspection. Always get the inspection. All right, so that if there are big problems, you can get them resolved and put that payment on the seller, knock it off the sales price, whatever you guys negotiate to do, so that you don't have any money coming out of your pocket after you buy a home. All right. Unexpected repairs happen fast. New appliances, utilities, maintenance, water heater example is $1,200 to $2,200. You need an emergency fund. All right. I know this is hard for first time buyers to have. But if you could have a reserve fund for things that might happen once you buy the house, you never know what might happen, and you might need that extra money in order to fix things. For example, the water heater. The water heater seemed fine in the inspection, but 3 months down the road, the water heater has a leak or something happens unexpectedly, and there you are stuck. Okay, so have an emergency fund if you can. Here's a good one: opening new credit before closing. A lot of these new first-time home buyers, they get excited. All right, due diligence is passed. We're looking to close. All right, but I decide to take out or get a credit card and start buying furniture for the home. No, you can't do that. All right, new debt changes to debt to income ratio will happen. Credit pulls lower score, and it can result in a loan denial. It still has to go through underwriting. And if underwriting catches this fact that you have opened a new account and you are getting furniture out the yin yang to make furniture in your new home, then it's not going to be good. You could get denied the loan. All right, hold off, wait till it's closed, wait till it's signed, and then you can get your furniture for your home. I know that you get excited and you want to do that, but this is a biggie right here. It still has to go through underwriting, and underwriting can deny you if they see that open credit. All right. Not shopping lenders. So rates can vary. If somebody can give you a different rate or find you a way to get a different type of loan that is going to help with the rate, all right, then it can help you out thousands of dollars on down the road as far as a 30 to 15-year mortgage, and could save you hundreds of dollars on your monthly payment. Okay, so it's very important to shop lenders. Your real estate agent can give you suggest a few. You can talk to them, or you can shop around and find your own off of the other than those 2 or 3 suggestions that you might get. Emotional decision making. This is a big one. All right, honey, I want this house. All right, don't buy the house based on how it's staged, a new coat of paint, so forth, and ignore the structural and resale factors. There are factors in there that you need to look at as far as resale factors. This may not be the home that you stay in for more than 5 to 10 years. How is it going to be in 5 and 10 years to be able to resell this house? And we'll get into some of those resale factors in a minute. All right, but you can get emotionally attached to a house sometimes by the way it's staged and so forth. Make sure you're looking at everything. All right. Not considering resale value, busy streets, odd layouts, flood zones, poor schools, hurt, appreciation. All right. Odd layouts. It's not open space in the family room. It's kind of cookie cutter type thing, and it's not an open space. Kitchen's not very big. All right. Bathrooms aren't up to date. Kitchen's not up to date. All right. Those things can affect resale, and those are things that you can change when you get the house, but you could also look at those things when you're buying the house. Busy streets. People sometimes don't like the traffic, the noise, living near a railroad, living near an airport. Those are things that you're going to have to look into. Flood zones, always check, and that should be always checked. Poor schools. Make sure that the schools there's a strong school system in that area, so that if a family that wants to buy your home later on and you're selling it, then that's not an issue to them. They know that their kids are going to a good school. All right. There's some other things that we'll get to in a little bit. So not using a real estate agent. All right. No negotiation support and risk of overpaying or bad terms. Okay. Don't get caught up in somebody fast talking you. All right. If you have a real estate agent that's knowledgeable of contracts and so forth, they can help you. When we talked about closing costs, that's where they come in. They can help you negotiate the seller paying some of those closing costs to cover some of those high expenses if that's needed. All right. Buying only for today's needs. Plan 5 to 7 years ahead. Space, schools, job changes. All right. If you're getting a house and there's a possibility that you may get promoted or a move to a different location, you got to be aware of that. All right. Is this a good location for me to stay in if I get transferred to another location? Let's say there's a Cartersville office. There's an Atlanta office. You work in the Cartersville office right now. Maybe find a home in Ackworth or more towards Kennesaw, so that if you do get that other job in a different position at another location, then it is okay for you to travel. You don't really have to move again. Those are just some things that you have to look at. All right, lowballing in a hot market. You really don't want to go and cut it too much. This leads to rejected offers, and that's a waste of time and an opportunity for you to get your house. Really, where the negotiation might take place is maybe in the closing cost, so forth, stuff like that, where they can pay some of the closing costs. You can negotiate in raising the sales price or reducing the sale price just a little bit in order to use that money to cover maybe an expense that the seller does not want to fix at that time, or take the time to fix. Okay, so those are some things that you can negotiate in, and a real estate agent can help you do that, but you don't want to really lowball. Ignoring commute, we talked about that a little bit. Daytime visits hide rush hour reality. Make sure that you're aware of the area in all aspects of time. How is it in the evening? How is it in the daytime? Those things you need to check out as well. They may be different. Future development, and this is what I was talking we get to later. Check zoning and city planning. Is there going to be something that is going to be built near this home later on that could devalue your property? There's lots of things that could happen that could devalue the property home, or the home value of the property. Future construction impacts privacy and noise, different types of things that may happen. All right, so you really need to make sure that there is no future, all right, like within the next 5 or so years, future construction happening in that area near your home. So these tips are brought to you by Team Ruggles at Land Communities. We serve Bartow, Gordon, and Floyd counties. The number there is 770-240-2000. We have helped several first-time home buyers. We are with them step by step. We help guide them step by step. We get the phone calls. We answer the questions. We help them tremendously so that they are not nervous with their first-time home buying purchase. All right, we have helped several first-time home buyers. And again, if these tips are helping you out, go to my YouTube page. You can see more tips on that Atlanta Communities real estate playlist, www.youtube.com/@EricRuggles. And I do appreciate all of the subscribers that I have now. I'm working to get more subscribers so that I can get on there. Looking forward to working with Amazon and other businesses in order to put links on there that will help my home buyers buy some new home stuff with my code a little cheaper, okay? And that would help them out. So basically, if you do go there, please subscribe. Very thankful for everyone that has. Hope these tips are helping you out. We'll see you next time.